Welcome to video 3 of the Excel DSS project. What you'll need for today is the access to your Excel DSS project file. This is the file you've been working on. At this point, it should have your company's stock data, volume, and 3 columns of the competitor's stock data. And then finally, you'll need access to the Indexes and Commodities Excel file, which should have been downloaded from the Moodle site. If you haven't downloaded it, do that right now, and I'll show you where that is. On the Moodle site, it's located right here under Download the Indexes and Commodities Spreadsheet. And that file should look something like this. Notice how the date at the top is 7/3/2017, and this lines up with the data that you have downloaded. It should go all the way down to 12/59, which is June 30th, 2022. Now, this file is interesting. It's got a lot of information. The first column is the interest rate. This is the 10-year interest rate. For basic finance purposes, the lower the interest rate, the more money companies borrow, the more risk they take. They borrow money to invest into other things. They may invest into factories. They may invest in new technologies. So the idea here is when interest rates go low, usually stock prices go up because it signals a growth period. When interest rates go up, usually stock prices go down because it's harder to borrow money and folks take less risks because they do not want to pay high interest rates to pay back those loans. The next column, column C, is something called CSI, which is the Consumer Sentiment Index or the Consumer Satisfaction Index. It is a number that's generated by the University of Michigan, the business school over there. They generate a number. It can range really anywhere from 1 to 300 in theory, but usually it kind of hovers between the 50 and 120 range. And that's basically, it's a number that measures the consumer satisfaction of how they feel about the economy, how they feel about spending money. The higher the number, the more comfortable people are spending money, buying products, buying big products like cars and washing machines. So CSI will factor into the stock price if a lot of folks are out there buying products and a company that you're dealing with sells large consumer goods, high consumer sentiment or high consumer satisfaction will drive, in theory, the price of that stock higher. If consumer sentiment or consumer satisfaction is low, the opposite holds true. The next 2 columns, crude oil and natural gas, these are forms of energy. They are commodities. They are traded on the commodities market. And there's really no big news here. The price of oil really drives everything when it comes to development of plastics or when it comes to shipping items. Everything kind of works off of oil. So if oil prices start to boom and skyrocket, it drives costs up, and then usually people buy less and less. And then the opposite's true. If the price of oil goes down or natural gas goes down, the price of energy goes down, then people are much more comfortable spending money. The next few columns are your precious metals and metals, gold, silver, aluminum, copper, lead, zinc, nickel, and platinum. Gold, silver, and platinum can also be used as a form of currency. Folks usually buy a lot of gold and silver and platinum if they are wary of the stock market. If they want some stability, they move their money into these positions. Otherwise, they can be used in technology. They can be used in manufacturing, aluminum, copper. Copper is used a lot in technology. lead and zinc, nickel. These things are all used in just about anything that has metal in it or technology in it. So cars, refrigerators, computers, these things all contain metals or precious metals. Moving further along, we have sort of your food-based commodities, lean hogs, soybean, wheat, coffee, corn, sugar, orange juice. And those are pretty much self-explanatory. They're all commodities that are sold on the open market. And then finally, I end with rubber, which is also used as an industrial material for just about anything. So here are your commodities. Your job is to copy the interest rate, copy CSI into your uh, project spreadsheet. So let's go into your project spreadsheet, and I'm going to type in interest rate, and I'm going to type in CSI. So everyone needs to have interest rate and CSI. So let's just copy these two. We just need to highlight the first value on each of these. I'm going to do it all in one fell swoop, but if you want to do two separate columns, you can do two separate columns. All right, I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to paste it here. All right, and then the next step is to go back to the commodities and indexes page. Your next step is to select 3 of the remaining commodities from crude oil all the way down to rubber. Now, the idea here is to get 3 commodities that are close to the company that you have selected. So if you have Ford Motors, you probably want to have oil. You probably want to have aluminum and maybe lead or nickel or copper. You probably want to have something that you make metals and you make cars out of. So metal, rubber, technology that's involved with it. So maybe even gold and copper. But you want something along those lines. If you have something like General Mills, which is a cereal company, a food company, you may want to focus more on wheat and corn and sugar and soybean. Um, if you have a bank, banks are interesting. So you definitely want to have gold and silver if you have a bank. But then you may want to choose something else. It could be random. It doesn't have to make too much sense. When in doubt, always use oil. So if you have 2 and you can't think of a third one, always use oil because oil really drives the world. Okay, so at this point, you want to get a little creative and select 3 commodities. And then you're going to do the same exact thing. You're going to copy those values and you're going to put them into your project spreadsheet. So I have Sam Adams. So I definitely know that wheat goes into beer. And I'm going to do another grain. I'm going to do corn. I could use oil if I want for shipping. Actually, let's do that. I'm going to do wheat, corn, and I'm going to do wheat, corn, and oil just so that we have oil. Again, lots of shipping involved in beer. So let's type in wheat, corn, and oil. Go back to here, and here are my wheat prices. I'm just going to select all of these, copy, paste. And I'm going to do the same for corn and for oil. Okay, now that I have that, just want to scroll down to make sure that we have the requisite 1259 rows. and everything looks great. Let's hit save on this Excel spreadsheet and we'll move on to the next step.